Hey YouTube, Jam here, and welcome back to the gaming station. This week has been crazy busy for Brawl Stars as they announced the update, and then over the course of the last few days they announced the next round of balance changes. So today I'd like to go over the balance changes that they announced on Monday as well as on Wednesday. These changes aren't live yet, but they should go live when the update does, which I believe is going to be July 6th, but I could be wrong about that. Alright, let's get into it. We'll start with the nerfs today. Sprout is finally getting a decent nerf. His supercharge rate is being increased slightly, so it will take more attacks for him to charge it. And his overgrowth star power is now going to have a charge bar added to it. So I feel like his super will still be pretty easy to chain, but we'll have to see how that actually works in-game. The overgrowth rework sounds like it's going to be a lot less toxic than it was before, because it sounds like it's going to be like Mortis's coiled snake. Sprout will have to charge it up over the course of 5 seconds, and it will make the next attack have a bigger area of effect. This should make some of his shots easier to dodge, since not all the shots that miss will be affected by overgrowth. Next on the list is Gene. He's getting an HP reduction. I'm not going to say this wasn't needed because Gene has been very strong in the game for a long time. I don't think this will kill him either, so I'm on board with the change as I'm a fan of small changes done over time to help try to rebalance brawlers. Jacky's gadget is finally getting the correct nerf. They reverted the usage nerf from the last round of changes, so now it has 3 uses again, but they nerfed the buff she gets from her gadget from 30 to 20%. They're also giving her a small HP nerf on top of that. The gadget change I agree with. This is what they should have done last month in my opinion. As far as the HP nerf, I guess she needs it, but like I've said before, Jacky is so simple it's easy to over nerf her. And if they keep going this way, I'm pretty sure they're going to kill her and make her basically useless. And the last nerf is going to be going to M's, finally. I won't lie, I wrote the first draft of this script Monday night, and at the end I started going on a rant about how she's still not getting nerfed. But on Wednesday, they announced that they're going to be making this change. So, Ems is getting a few nerfs. Her HP is getting a decent reduction, and her gadget's getting a rework. The radius and knockback effect of her gadget are being reduced, and to compensate for this reduction, they are giving her back 3 uses of her gadget. I'm a fan of these changes to her gadget. You have to be a lot closer now to use it, and I don't think it's going to put opponents in her maximum damage range either. The one thing I will say is that I wish they had done a damage nerf instead of a health nerf, but this will bring her in line with other mid-range fighters like Shelly and Tara, so it's not a terrible change. That's going to do it for nerfs. Now, let's go over buffs. Dynamite is getting more love to his gadget. He's now getting a speed buff while he uses the gadget. This is probably one of the best things they can do to help make this bad gadget better. Speed buffs always go a long way to help make brawlers stronger. Rico, BB, Jacky, Primo are all examples of brawlers that are way better once they get their movement speed buffed. If this change doesn't help Dynamite's gadget, they need to rework it entirely. Gale is actually getting a pretty big buff. His super will no longer push him back and push his enemies further. And his attack is also going to fire an extra projectile, which will make it easier for him to land shots and deal damage more consistently. Gale was very weak on release, so I like that he's getting some attention now. The changes to his super are really good in my opinion. I never really liked that you pushed yourself back when you used it, and I felt like the distance you moved your opponents wasn't quite far enough. This change will also make his stunning star power more consistent, as you should be able to get opponents to hit walls more consistently. However, the projectile change might not be needed though, because his shots were really wide and it was never really hard to land them, in my opinion. Nanny is getting a buff as well. She's getting a pretty sizable HP buff, and if her projectiles miss a target, they will now travel a further distance. The projectile change is okay from what I've seen. It looks like it will be a little more forgiving as the individual projectiles travel an extra tile or so. As far as the HP buff, I'm not sure if this is a change I would have asked for, but it's something, and it's a decent sized buff, so it could help make her a little bit better. Next up, Tara's getting another buff. This time they're giving her a damage buff. This is probably the first change that I don't even somewhat agree with. I like Tara, and I play her a decent amount, but in my opinion, she was pretty balanced. I didn't think she needed the HP buff she got a few weeks ago, and I don't think she needs this damage buff either. Leon's getting a damage buff, and his gadget's getting a rework. Leon's clones will now have the same amount of health as he does, but they take double damage from all sources. I like both of these changes. Leon has been weak in 3v3 modes, and a damage buff might help him as it will allow him to kill a few more brawlers when he gets up close to them. And I was never a fan of his gadget. I thought it was kind of gimmicky with a 1 HP clone that didn't attack anyone. At least now it will waste a shot or two of your opponents and allow you to get the upper hand in a 1v1 situation if that does happen. And the last change on the list is going to be a rework. Mr. P's Tin Can star power is getting replaced with a new star power called Revolving Door. this will make porters spawn 3 seconds faster. I'm not sure on this one really. I don't have it, but I like Tin Can as a star power, as it let you put your spawner in a more aggressive position on the map. It could be a little broken in Siege, I guess, but other than that, I thought it was an okay star power. And this new one sounds like it could be very annoying. I don't know the exact spawn rate of porters, but making them spawn faster has a good chance of making the porters themselves very obnoxious. Overall, I think these balance changes are really good. They're a lot better than the last round of balance changes, in my opinion. Sprout, Ems, and Jacky all got appropriate nerfs, although I worry about Jacky's HP a little bit, like I said. Gale and Nanny are getting some love, and hopefully this helps them find some use in-game after being really weak upon release. But I do have 2 questions though. The first one is, why rework Mr. P's Tin Can? Like I said, I didn't think it was a bad star power, and it had its uses, and this new one sounds like it's going to be a nightmare on paper. And the other question I have is, why do they keep buffing Tara? Like I said, I don't personally feel like she needed it. The only great reason I can think of is maybe they want her to compete with Jean, but I don't think over-buffing her is a good way to do that, because they don't fill the same role. Jean is generally a mid-brawler, and Tara is typically a lane or an aggro brawler. Over-buffing her is just going to lead to a meta where you have Jean and Tara in one comp, and it's going to be terrible in modes like Gem Grab and Brawl Ball. But, what do you think about this round of balance changes? What do you like or dislike about them? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like on it for me. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.